Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, Pop Retro 1 at both Twitter and Instagram, patreon.com/popretro. It is October, and you know what that means? That means it is Halloween month, so I thought I would like to do a feature on the channel where I actually talk about the magazines that I read. Can you believe people are out there who still read magazines? Do you still read any magazines? Now, I was a subscriber to TV Guide when I was younger, as well as Entertainment Weekly. In fact, I think I had Entertainment Weekly for 25 years maybe, before I canceled it about 4 or 5 years ago. And so now I just have a short list of magazines that I subscribe to that are throwback and nostalgia magazines. And one of those is ReMIND magazine, which, as you can see, this is the special Halloween edition, not just for Halloween the holiday, but also for Halloween the 1978 John Carpenter movie. So I thought it'd be a good time to break out the first of these magazine channel episodes with ReMIND magazine, which I've been getting for a couple years. I think the magazine itself has been around since around 2012 or 13, so 8 or 9 years, I think. If it's older than that, I don't remember it from back then, and trying to find back issues from before 2012 or 2013 is pretty difficult searching the web. So I'm thinking that's probably around the time it started, unless they're, just have disappeared into the ether somehow or somewhere. So this particular magazine, ReMIND, is owned by the same people who back in 2015 purchased the rights to TV Guide magazine. So essentially it's the same people who do TV Guide now, although TV Guide now is not the same entity that it was back before. In fact, the company that owns this magazine and TV Guide magazine is not the same company, not the same people that control the TV Guide website, which is online. So those are now two separate entities. But at any rate, I just wanted to take a quick look at this month's ReMIND. Check out that cover. That's, if I can get the light, hard to get the light glare off it. It's all, dark, black colored. So, and just so you know, each month with ReMIND, it covers essentially the 50s through the 1990s, and it has section breakdowns on all the decades every month. And what I like most about it is that it just kind of pings my memory of things that I haven't looked at for a while, maybe gives me some new information on some of those things. And also sometimes I find something that I didn't know about, and I can read about things that are new to me. And so if you're somebody who's into nostalgia and somebody who likes the throwback stuff, this is a great magazine for that. And just to show you real quick, this is usually there's usually a theme to each issue, although not necessarily like one movie or one TV show like there is for this Halloween special. So for instance, last month's was TV Westerns of the 50s and 60s, and that was last month's issue. And next month's, November 2021, which has already arrived if you're a subscriber, is the Home for the Holidays edition, celebrating Thanksgiving and Christmas albums and top holiday TV episodes. And that's what November's looks like. So now, going back to October 2021, what I found pretty cool is that I'm more of a Friday the 13th guy growing up. I really enjoyed those movies in the 80s as a kid, and Nightmare on Elm Street. And of course, Halloween was right up there with them, but Friday the 13th was always my favorite. And this October, I decided to spend the season reading the Crystal Lake Memories book while I rewatch all the Friday the 13th movies. So I'm really kind of on a Friday the 13th thing. But I found, though, this issue of ReMIND is a really nice primer if you don't know a lot about the Halloween franchise, or if you don't have any books and you want to get a little bit deeper on all things related to Halloween, especially the first movie, and because this is just chock full of tons of articles about that. Starting with the first one, is just kind of a nice overview, the birth of the boogeyman right there, which kind of just tells overall how it came to be, the movie, and who the guest editor is for the magazine. They always have guest editors for ReMIND. There's a nice Where Are They Now feature showing you all the principals from the 1978 movie and what they're up to now. And of course, this also ties into Halloween Kills, the movie that just came out this month in theaters, the newest of the Halloween movies. Myers, Myth, and the Family Tree. Now, this was a nice 2-page spread that talks about each movie in the franchise, all the sequels, and just kind of a quick snapshot, a quick behind-the-scenes look at all the movies that had come in the series. And of course, there are full-color photos in ReMIND magazine, which are always really nice. I enjoy seeing them. Things you didn't know about the original Halloween, a nice little feature, which includes, in 1981, NBC and the producers battled over what to cut in order for the network to air the film, which they purchased the broadcast rights for $4 million, using crew from Halloween 2, which was shooting at the time. Carpenter shot 11 minutes of new material over 3 days, a shoot that cost more than the entirety of the original production and of Halloween. So that was just one of the 13 things you didn't know about the original Halloween, some of which I found pretty interesting. Michael Myers Unmasked. This is about Nick Castle, the guy who played behind the mask Michael Myers in the original movie. A nice little interview with him. The Faces of Fear, which talks about how the mask came to be, which those of you who know a little bit about this series know that it was modeled after a William Shatner Star Trek mask back in the 70s. A Place He Called Home is a nice article about the home that was used for the original movie and what's going on with it today, which I found rather interesting. There's still some Hollywood happenings going on in that place today, which the article breaks down. And the guy who started Fright Rags has a nice little article in here about Hollywood collectibles and how Fright Rags came to be. So anyhow, oh gosh, there's so many. The Night No One Came Home is a nice overview about probably, I don't know if it's my favorite, but growing up, because I was such a Friday the 13th fan, Halloween 3, which had nothing to do with Michael Myers, was a favorite of mine as a kid because it was just a standalone scary movie. And so this article kind of breaks it down and talks about it. And we get a nice little article about John Carpenter and his music, about how he scored the original Halloween and many of his other films since then. So then we hit the regular features of, or departments, I guess I should say, of the magazine, decades. And they usually go through all the decades, or most of the decades leading up through the 90s. So they talk about Halloween movies, i.e. scary movies, for each decade. And so here they are in 1960s. They talk about Psycho. For the 70s, there's a little bit on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, among others. Friday the 13th for the 80s, of course. And for the 90s, you can probably guess, they talk about the Scream franchise. And after that, another cool feature, what they do in ReMIND magazine is it kind of is like a old school TV guide. They have listings for a lot of the, what do you call them, streaming channels and channels that are those sub channels, like your channel 16.2, which is MeTV or whatever, that has classic TV and movies on it. They'll have listings for a lot of those each month in here. Now, I'm not a puzzle guy, but if you know somebody who is, and you actually get ReMIND magazine, you'll find there are 12, the magazine itself is 72 pages. 12 of those pages are puzzles, like crossword puzzles and word find puzzles and mind games and brain games. And I've never been into really doing any puzzles in books or anything like that, but I know a lot of people are. And so I imagine there probably is an older demographic that likes to look at this magazine. And so that was popular with the older demographics, and the addition of some crossword puzzles is probably welcome for a lot of people like that. And then it closes out usually with some trivia on the theme of the issue. And one of the cool things too is they have some fan photos, fan interactions, where the fans send in things and they publish them. And of course this month it was anything related to the movie Halloween, and it looks like plenty of fans were around to send in their snapshots for that. And then finally you got this little Jamie Rocks on Jamie Lee Curtis talking about her film career and kind of counting down 10 of her audience favorite films. And then you got the Halloween Kills advertisement on the back. Okay, and so that'll do it. That is the first of what I hope will be a regular feature here, where I go over and review some of the magazines that I'm reading and just give you a quick overview of what they're covering on a monthly basis. So happy October to you, happy Halloween to you, and we'll see you next time.